Hello everyone and welcome to WGBS TV Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. In this, our March 3rd, 2020 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including what happened to the New York premiere of Superman Red Son. We're going to be talking about that animated movie, the upcoming Justice League Dark, Apokolips War animated film, upcoming Supergirl episodes, and so much more. We're also going to be turning to you to take your questions and comments on any particular Superman topic you would like to discuss. And to let you know how all that works and how you can get involved in tonight's show, let me introduce you to my co-host, coronavirus-free, Mr. Michael Bailey. Hey, Michael.
Yeah, I coughed today, and like everyone kind of froze around me. That actually didn't happen at all. It's been surprisingly calm in my area. But anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about viruses or anything. This is WGBS Live, and WGBS Live is all about Superman. And because we want to hear from the Superman fans that are watching us live right now via YouTube. And to do that, well, there's a way that I want to say it's simple, but sometimes it's not, as we've proven time and again. But basically, if you do want to get involved with the show, and if we do have time, we got a kind of a packed list of things to talk about today. But if you want to do that, you're going to need Skype. Go to Skype, message the Superman homepage, tell us you'd like to be part of the show. Now, a couple of things before I start coughing. One, message us. Don't just try to call us or anything, because it can kind of screw things up. And two, if you're listening to WGBS Live on an external speaker, please turn that down or off completely before you start talking to us, because we are on a delay and that can kind of screw things up.
Yes, indeed. And if you're watching this live via YouTube, then participate via the comments there on YouTube. Michael and I will keep an eye on what you guys have to say, answer any questions you might have, and react to your comments as the show goes on. And a huge thank you to our patrons and sponsors, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. We appreciate your support. And if you want to sponsor the Superman homepage, then head to patreon.com/Superman homepage. You can sponsor us for as little as $1. Well, Michael, as you can see, I'm in my laboratory, however you want to pronounce it, just trying to come up with a cure for this madness that's just spreading around the world.
Yeah, it's on everybody's mind, and especially here in the United States. To quote a joke I saw on Facebook, a couple of months ago, everyone was constitutional scholars here in the United States, and now everyone's CDC rated experts on how to combat a virus that is relatively new. So it's been fun. Like I said, luckily around here it hasn't been too crazy. We just are selling out of hand sanitizer and masks, neither of which will help you against a virus, I might add.
Indeed. Well, here in Australia, as I was telling you off, those things are scarce as well, but for some reason toilet paper is really hard to find now. People are going panic buying, and it's just absolutely nuts. Maybe we import it from China and therefore it's hard to get. I don't know what's going on, but we will talk about the coronavirus as it relates to Superman, because with movie news at the top of our show, they've actually cancelled the New York premiere of Superman Red Son due to the threat of the coronavirus. I just saw today as well on The Hollywood Reporter that DC Comics are cancelling all their March convention appearances because of the threat and the health and safety of their people, their staff, and what have you, forefront in their mind. But this is unprecedented from what I can remember.
It really is, but then again, we really haven't experienced what could turn into a full-blown pandemic. There are people who are like, well, it's just like the flu, and it's not just like the flu, because we have decades of research and models, and we know how the flu operates. And yes, the flu does kill people, but doctors have a pretty good handle on the ebb and flow of how that works. This is a completely different animal, well, bacteria or virus, I guess I should say, entirely. So it's weird that they're canceling stuff, but I can't say as I blames them because we don't know how this is going to go, how traveling is going to affect, uh, you know, how everything pans out. And the premiere's interesting mainly because they don't want people flying in from California?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the statement says, as the impact and spread of coronavirus continues to evolve, Warner Brothers is placing added emphasis on the health and welfare of its employees, talent, and fans. To help minimize risk of exposure, Warner Brothers has opted to take preventative measures and cancel the New York premiere of Superman Red Son on March 16th. We apologize for any inconvenience this has caused, and we look forward to seeing you at future events. I guess, like many of a friend of mine who are trying to plan some traveling, it's more of the fact that, yeah, you're risking yourself to exposure, but there's also a lot of things that are being closed around the joint because, like this, people don't want to be all in the same place at the same time. You don't want to get quarantined and be kept on an aeroplane for a length of period of time. I guess it's just let's be honest here. People of a healthy age range are not going to die from the coronavirus. It's more like the elderly, the people with respiratory problems, the young, the very young. They're at risk because of their low immunity systems. But I guess at this point in time, it's more because of the spread and contagion rather than any real health risk to the individuals themselves.
And this may dovetail into something that could be considered political, but it's a practical consideration as well. Here in the United States, if you were quarantined, you were charged for that.
Wow.
There's a gentleman that was quarantined for a while, came home, and he had bills for thousands of dollars because they charged him for the care. He got bills for the doctors, bills for the ambulance service, all of that. So, unfortunately, because of how healthcare works here in the States, that's a consideration. So, and you're right, even though it does only affect mainly the groups that you mentioned, you also don't want to run the risk of exposing them to that.
Yes.
So, I work with the public. I wash my hands on a regular basis. I try not to breathe too much on or, near people. So it's like one of those things, but I guess when you're a major entertainment company and your work requires travel, these are the things that are going to happen. The question now becomes, they've canceled Emerald City Comic Con, which is, like you said, weird. And they're not the only ones. Dark Horse did as well.
Yeah.
Dark Horse is closer to Seattle than DC is. Well, I guess DC's in California now. But what happens if this continues and you got San Diego? Are they going to cancel their appearances at the San Diego Comic Con?
Well, I know that Emerald City Comic Con is affected. DC are not going there. Marvel had no plans for appearance there, so that doesn't affect. There's no cancellations on that. And then you're looking at April, where you've got WonderCon. So there are some pretty major conventions being affected by this. I know I saw Marv Wolfman, who is, let's face it, an elder gentleman, being very concerned about his plans for convention appearances, and that's understandable because of his age, and it's just natural concern out there, I guess, for people. And it's sad that events like this are being affected. I know we had one of our reporters planning to go to the New York premiere of Superman Red Son. He's disappointed that has been cancelled, but I guess it's all relative.
Yeah, and with these conventions, you're not just dealing with people in the United States. People do come in from other countries. Yep. So there's that consideration as well.
Exactly. All right. Well, speaking of Superman Red Son, the world premiere did take place on February 24th, Monday, February 24th. We had our reporter, Rennie Cowan, in attendance. She did a number of red carpet interviews with the voice cast and some of the producers and director. And here's just one of the videos that she was able to capture with the voice of Superman himself, Jason Isaacs. Sound quality isn't the greatest. We're going to play a little bit of that video for you guys to check out right now.
Look, up in the sky!
Get the best you've got. Extraordinary reports coming out of the Soviet Union. Tales of a being with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal man.
As I said, Mr. President, of course I understand your concern, but I assure you the Luthor Company has this under control.
I don't... Well, I see that. Hi. How are you? Excellent. I am playing Superman. Who would have thought it to look at me? Well, I'm not a typical Superman, but he's really not a typical Superman. I don't know how much to spoil for people who haven't read the comics, but it's the most interesting version of Superman I've ever come across. Superman is really never conflicted in any way about what the right thing to do is. He faces challenges outside himself. All the challenges that Superman faces are really inside himself. And he and many other characters are confronted with constant dilemmas to which the solutions are not simple. And really you can debate which way to go at every turn.
So there's just a bit of the interview there from... I've got a comment from... Yes, so that's one of the interviews there that we've posted up on the Superman homepage. We've got Jason Isaacs, we've got the voice of Lois Lane, we've got Bruce Timm, we've got a number of different voice actors there, exclusive interviews from the red carpet, so make sure you check that out at supermanhomepage.com.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching those. I haven't had a chance to yet, but I love Jason Isaacs. I think he is just a fantastic actor, and the fact that now he's gotten to play a version of Superman, which I was about to say, British people don't get often to do that. And then I'm like, well, there's Henry Cavill, you idiot. So.
No, that's not the guy from Mad Men. Tina is asking. He was in Harry Potter.
Yes.
And as Lucius Malfoy.
I have never seen any of the Harry Potter films. The thing I recognize him, the two things I recognize him most from, besides his recent turn on Star Trek, was he was the main bad guy in Mel Gibson's The Patriot.
Oh yes.
And he had a very small role in Armageddon too. But it's really funny to think that those came out, I think, roughly in the same year. And one was just like this big villainous role, and the other he was talking about what happens when firecracker explodes in your hand. So no, but he's just one of those guys that I like to watch him work.
Yeah.
Because he's so solid in everything he does.
And here's a clip that Warner Brothers released from Superman Red Sun, which is available now digitally, but will be out on Blu-ray in about 2 weeks' time. So here's a clip from Superman Red Sun, thanks to Warner Brothers Home Animation. Just trying to find it right now. Why does it disappear on me when I want it the most? I'll grab that in a sec. Just going to grab it quickly across here. So here's an exclusive clip from Superman Red Sun. No, I haven't got it. I don't have it. Where is it? Yeah, might will do a song and dance as I look for it.
I was happy today to find that Amazon is going to send it to me on the date of release, so I'm at no extra charge.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
I don't have that clip on hand, so you can check it out at our website if you want to see that exclusive clip that Warner Brothers released on YouTube. But what I do have is the trailer for the next animated movie coming from the DC Universe animated films, and that is Justice League Dark. Let's check out the clip right now, and it was posted on IGN, and then we'll come back and talk about that right after this. Here is the clip, the trailer from Justice League Dark, Apokolips War.
Justice League. We are facing an existential threat to the planet. Our only option is to destroy Darkseid.
Bow before me. A global war means everyone on the planet is at risk.
You're gullible fools. Darkseid is playing you.
The humans earned their fate.
I know you hate me, but I wouldn't be here if it wasn't necessary.
I'm completely on your side now.
No more planning. Just do it.
We can't quit. The Justice League doesn't quit.
So there you have it. That's the trailer for Justice League Dark Apokolips War, which will be released mid-2020. We don't have an exact release date yet, but you can pre-order it now on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray and Blu-ray combo pack from our website. Thoughts?
R-rated? Really? That's different. I like the idea that it's bringing in all of the characters from the various, for lack of a better way of saying it, the New 52 DC movies. It looks like it's going to be action-packed. Not quite sure why Batwoman's using a gun, but, whatever. It's obviously based heavily on the Jeff Johns Darkseid War storyline, which finished out the New 52 Justice League run of his. It looks like it's going to be good. I'm just like, why does it have to be R-rated? And this isn't me speaking as a prude, because I'm not. I mean, Birds of Prey was R-rated, whatever. Deadpool was R-rated, whatever. I think with Birds of Prey, there's more of an argument to be had there. But as an animated standalone film, why would you do that? I mean, I realize that you're not dealing with kids getting in to see the film, but it seems like you're cutting off a certain, if there are places that actually stand by the you need to be 17 to buy this, why would you cut off your audience like that?
Yeah, some people are saying it could be for the animated violence. We have seen some language in animated films before. Lois gave Brainiac the bird in another one. So we have seen them angling more towards the more adult style of storytelling. I'm with you there. I don't necessarily, when I see R-rated, that kind of says to me you're cutting off a major part of your audience, especially being an animated film. Most people think of animation as being for children, but parents are going to really think twice about buying this for anybody under a certain age because of the R rating.
Yeah, other than that, it looks pretty solid. Superman seems to be front and center in most of it. Lex is a part of it, because of course Lex was a part of the Darkseid War. I like how they're bringing in the Titans, and they're bringing in, it's a Justice League Dark movie, so obviously Constantine and those characters are going to play a bigger role in it. It's just, it seems like they're trying to pack a lot into one animated film, so I'm wondering if it's going to have too much in it, or are they going to, is this like a prelude to them doing a two-part animated film like they did with Superman and Death of Superman and Reign of the Superman?
It'll be interesting to see. It's going to be a cast of thousands, though. There's everybody from Jerry O'Connell back voicing Superman. You've got who else do we have? We have Rebecca Romijn back voicing Lois, Rainn Wilson voicing Lex Luthor, and many, 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 many others. I imagine this is probably the largest voice cast they've had for any animated film from the DC universe.
Yeah, somebody, I think, last week when we were talking about it, you mentioned that somebody compared it to the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think it's probably a little easier to do it voice casting wise.
Yep.
Because you're not running into the problem that like Stephen Amell ran into, where he had to do his death scene, but not most of it was of his close-ups were filmed, and most of the people he was talking to in the scene weren't there. So there's a little bit of a problem in that. But no, just reservations about it being R-rated to the side. It does look good, and I am looking forward to seeing it.
Now, what about the talk that this could be the end cap to the current continuity of DC Universe animated films, and that it will wipe the slate clean, if you like, and we will get something new from that point forward?
We talked about that a bit last week, and I kind of feel the same way, that if this is how you're going to end it, that's a pretty good way to end it. And if you're going to then go out with a bang and then go in a new direction. Doing things more based on how the New 52 did it, when the New 52 hasn't been a thing for nearly 4 years. I don't see the margin in that, and maybe I don't know how well the films were doing. They keep doing them, so obviously they're doing well enough to produce another one. You had, at least 3 Batman-centric ones, and then in Hush, you had the Death of Superman and Reign of the Superman. You had a bunch. There's at least 4 or 5 Justice League related ones. So you got to retool at some point. I know it's animation, so the voice cast can stay pretty much the same. You don't have to worry about characters aging or having problems with availability and all that. But maybe this Superman movie that they talked about is going to be their first in a line of more original stories, instead of trying to base it more on what the comic books are doing.
Yeah, be interesting to see. Watch this space. All right, well, let's turn our attention towards the television side of things, and the last episode of Supergirl we saw was the 100th, and the cast of Supergirl were asked about what their favourite moments of the last 100 episodes have been, and the CW produced this video where they talk about that. Take a look.
Supergirl!
Oh, we've had so many amazing episodes.
Thank you, Supergirl.
You're welcome. I always think back to season 1 when Supergirl made the television address.
When faced with an enemy determined to destroy your spirit, you will fight back and thrive.
That to me is Supergirl in a nutshell.
When I first transformed into the Martian, that was great.
My name is John Jones.
Can you believe it, sis? 3 Luthers in the Oval Office.
All the Luthers together is so delicious and so dark and so dysfunctional.
I love my first episode.
I am Brainiac 5. Not to brag, but a 12th level intellect.
And that's when the show really starts picking up, in my opinion.
We're trapped underground, so she doesn't have any of her powers. And so I take my gun past this guy's head and I point up to the side and I go,
Here comes the sun.
and we still laugh about that all the time.
So there you go. Here Comes the Sun. I like that one from Alex Danvers. So yeah, it's interesting to see what their favourite moments were from the past 100 episodes. I think I can maybe remember 5 in total. They all kind of blur in. I don't know how they all remember, especially when they shoot them out of continuity. But obviously to them, they probably had some time to think about it. But I guess for me, early in season 1, just having that new fresh Supergirl TV show and the pilot and everything that it did was kind of an interesting time for fans watching a new Supergirl TV series.
I can't think of a favorite moment. It's odd because I have to discount the Superman appearances because it's not quite fair. It's not quite fair to Supergirl to say my favorite parts were when Superman was there. That feels kind of weird. I think one of my favorite moments had to be the episode where she lost her powers on the first season.
Mm-hmm.
After doing the flare and had to confront the gunman in that convenience store. You know, just like any moment where she embodies what the hope of that character.
Yeah.
Which is why I thought it was interesting that she chose that speech that she gave at the end of season 1. You know, I remember when that happened thinking, God, this is really kind of corny, but at the same time thinking, no, this is the entire point of this. This is what this character is supposed to be. And I think it spoke more to the fact that we were kind of used to these dour live action versions of these characters. I mean, even if you go back to Superman Returns, there are some really good Superman moments, but a lot of that movie was him kind of staring pensively at something. And here we had, you know, no holds barred, no feelings of winking at the camera or anything, just that straight earnestness that it made me think, oh, this is what we've been kind of missing.
Yeah. Mind the Gap in the comments says that his favourite episode was Midvale, where they went back, and I think that was the one where they had the two younger girls, two younger actors portraying Kara and Alex.
Yeah, I always got the feeling that was their love letter to Smallville as a series, because it felt very much like an episode of Smallville.
I really liked the most recent episode with this newer version of Mixie. I thought that was a really very strongly written episode.
No, that's the thing, is that I think about, when I think of the show, I sometimes think I focus too much on what I didn't like.
Yeah.
And what problems I've had with it, you know, like, but those are all specific problems. It's just like the Rain story conceptually is actually really good. There were just some episodes in there that weren't as good. And maybe it's because I finally picked up seasons 3 and 4 on DVD because they were really cheap. And I was just thinking, oh, I really do like this thing enough to, you know, keep physical media of it. So since, do we know where it's going after Netflix ends its showing the CW shows?
Don't know. No, I haven't heard anything.
Huh. Okay, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, we look ahead now to the next episode of Supergirl, since we just had this past Sunday show a repeat of the Bottle episode. Now we have The Bodyguard, which is the 14th episode of Season 5. Let's check out the trailer and then find out why Michael is rolling his eyes right after this.
Someone tried to kill you.
I am not a bodyguard.
Saving people is what you do best.
I want you by my side at all times, got it?
Supergirl always saves the day.
Hashtag Superguard.
Hashtag Superguard.
Yeah, this one's got to be really good, because that trailer did not wow me at all. I watched it earlier today, and I'm like, really? That's what we're doing? Her being Rojas's bodyguard? Okay, well, let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, well, we'll see how this plays out, and then the next one seems to get us back to the really heavy-handed, messages they try to deliver with certain factors within the community, within the social landscape. It's titled, I just had it and it just disappeared on me. Let me quickly grab it. It's involving Dreamer, Mia, and the episode just disappeared on me. Let me quickly find it. The episode is titled Reality Bite, and Bite being B-Y-T-E-S. It says here, Nia's roommate, Yvette, is attacked by a man targeting Dreamer because he doesn't like that Dreamer is transgender and wants her to quit being a superhero. Determined to protect her community from additional harm, Dreamer refuses to give in to his threats and puts herself in the line of fire to stop him. Supergirl stands by Dreamer and enlists additional help from Brainy. Meanwhile, Alex, Jean, and Kelly attempt to rescue a man stuck inside a virtual reality escape room.
I read the synopsis for this, and I'm like, wow, this is going to be one of the standout episodes, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because it could end up being one of the best episodes of the season. And again, as always, I appreciate that they do try to talk about these subjects when they do. This just seems, every season seems to have that one episode that stands apart from the rest of the story, and I don't know if it's just to give everyone a chance to kind of regroup before we get into the finale, because we're over halfway through the season at this point, I think.
Yeah, well, it's the 15th episode that we've just given the description for. What do they do, 22?
Yeah, usually they do 22, so you've only got 7 more episodes of the season, and at this point they usually like to run them all like one after the other so that there's no interruption in service. Yeah. So, but again, as opposed to Supergirl, which just I don't know if it's gonna end up being silly. The other one at least is trying to say something, and if it's handled correctly, it could be a very powerful episode.
Now, Anthony in the comments is asking, when are we going to see the episode where Alex is in that super costume that we showed a picture of a couple of weeks back? I thought it was going to be in It's a Super Life.
So did I.
But I don't know. I have no idea where that might appear.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about where that's going to be. I hope that wasn't like just a trick or something to throw us off from the 100th episode. But yeah, I'm kind of curious about that as well.
So we'll have to wait and see. But this episode, Reality Bites, will air on Sunday, March 15th. So we look forward to the next couple of episodes of Supergirl. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're just over the halfway mark of tonight's show. Then we're going to come back and talk about the comic book side of things. So we'll be back right after these messages. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman in Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Coming from the farthest reaches of the universe to challenge the worst villains on Earth are the most powerful heroes ever in the battle of the Superpowers Collection. Can it be the Supermobile on the attack, the Lexor 7 armed with kryptonite? Will the Supermobile repel those deadly rays?
You bet. Ready for battle. Activate RAM.
New from Kenner's Superpowers Collection. Vehicles and figures with power action, each sold separately. Flying lessons for Penguin, fish bait for Luther. Can the Supermobile defeat the Lexor 7? You decide.
And we're back on WGBS TV Live, where we're going to talk about comic books now. Now, I know, Michael, you're not reading the current crop of comics at the moment, or not catching up on them on a regular basis, but Action Comics 1020 came out this last week, and it's part 4 of the Metropolis Doom story. We saw Young Justice joining forces with Superman, joining the Justice League in the battle against the Legion of Doom. There was an interesting moment in this comic where Connor Kent and Superman met up, and there was an interesting meeting of the two, and Superman was like, he didn't recognize him, so to speak, but he was like willing at that point in time just to take him on trust, and didn't have the time or the I guess patience with what was happening with the Legion of Doom to do anything but trust Superboy based on his reputation from Robin and the others around him, to join him and take the fight to Luthor and the rest of the Legion of Doom. I thought it was a quite an interesting moment.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad they went in that direction instead of what they did like on the Young Justice cartoon, where Superman just wants nothing to do with him. So
now, James, our reviewer, is loving what Bendis is doing. I know Bendis is not everybody's cup of tea at the moment. For me, it's more the artwork by JR that is turning me off. I'm happy to go along with the story, be it a slow burn, be it revealing the secret identity and all that kind of stuff. I just can't get into the artwork. It's really turning me off.
Yeah, he seems really skinny. Like, you don't have to, because it's kind of an interesting, difference in looking at the covers, which is all I can really judge them on. Is like you see the Ivan Reis covers, and Superman is large and in charge and looks really majestic, and then you have the JR covers, and he's super skinny, and the S is really small.
Yeah, so there's the cover there. He's just, I don't know why JR just wants to draw the way he does for this, because we have seen his artwork in the past that is a lot better, but this is the style that he's choosing to go with, and for some reason DC are happy with it. But nevertheless, the other comic that came out this past week was Batman Superman number 7, and this particular comic book was again another great read, and the particular story surrounding this with General Zod and Ra's al Ghul, and just the way that certain things came together in this was really well done. Everybody's perspective was really well fleshed out, and everybody's had a legitimate reason for doing for their particular actions. I thought it was quite well written.
Yeah, I like the idea of General Zod and Ra's al Ghul kind of teaming up, especially now that they both have similar facial hair.
Well, they're not actually teaming up; they're actually at odds, because
really, okay, that I guess that makes more sense.
Yeah, General Zod wants to use the what do you call them? Resurrection pits, the Lazarus pits, to bring back the bottled city of Kandor's residents, and he's obviously doesn't. Ra's doesn't actually want that. Zod has his reasons for wanting that. Batman and Superman are going, well, we can't have that happen, obviously, for obvious reasons. We can't have these zombie-powered Kryptonians.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea.
So, it's quite a well-written story, and this part 1 of the Kandor Compromise is very well done by Joshua Williamson, and the art by Nick Derrington is quite good as well.
Yeah, I like it's interesting that the idea of a Superman Batman book just doesn't go away.
No, exactly. All right, well, let's look ahead to what's coming out this week. And for Superman fans reading comic books, you have the following books to look forward to. You have Justice League number 42. That has the Eradicator heavily involved, and that is available in this pretty cool looking variant cover. Also out this week is Lois Lane number 9, and that is also available in a variant cover. Superman Giant number 3 is also out this week, and then we have Superman Villains number 1, and that's the one shot looking at the perspective of Superman revealing his secret identity to the world from the villain's point of view. And then we have a $1 Comics version of JLA Year 1 number 1 for $1. That is what's available for comic book readers this week.
The Giant, is that the Walmart?
I believe.
Or is that going to the comic shops?
No, I think it's for comic shops, but it might be for Walmart. But
number 2 just came out last month.
Okay, so it must be for Walmart.
Yeah, I'll have to run by the store then and grab that.
Now, speaking of Superman Villains number 1, it's an interesting book because we see the return of the Kents. It's not really a spoiler at this point in time because Well, as you knew, if you're reading the New 52 comic books, the Kents appeared to have died in a car accident when Clark was in high school. And then in the events of the 12-issue series Doomsday Clock, we saw the continuity change, and apparently the Kents were back. But we hadn't seen that reflected in the comic books until now. In Superman Villains #1, we see Superman visiting the Kents at the farm in Smallville.
Yeah, probably just saying goodbye before, some supervillain wipes them. No, I'm just kidding. You really should have called. I'm sure he talked to his parents before he did anything. But it's nice to see them back. It was stupid to ever try to get rid of them. But I'm happy. It's not making me come back to the books, but it's cool to see nonetheless.
Yeah, so there's a couple of preview pages that were released showing Superman landing there at the Kent farm in Smallville and conversing with his parents. Although it's a bit controversial in the way that they are there on the Kent farm and under a bit of some kind of a cloaking device that Batman uses to keep their I guess, existence secret. But how does that work? I mean, do the Kents are they not able to leave the farm? Do the people of Smallville not see them when they go to the store to get supplies? How does the cloaking work for a couple who are not just prisoners in their Kent farm?
Are they being cloaked because he revealed his identity?
I think so. I haven't actually read the story myself, but from what I read in Adam's review, which will be up on the website tomorrow, that appears to be the case.
All right, I think that's a okay. Then I'm kind of glad I'm not reading the books because that's a terrible idea.
Don't know how that works. I obviously didn't really think that one through, but you'll be able to check it out yourself when you can pick up Superman Villains #1 tomorrow when it's released. And as I said, our review by Adam DeChannel will go up on the website tomorrow morning as well once the comic book has been released. So you'll be able to check those out tomorrow on supermanhomepage.com.
Sweet, as usual.
All right, well, let's look at the merchandise side of the world of Superman. And the Westminster Collection are now taking orders for their official Superman collector ingot, gold representation of Action Comics #1. Did you happen to see this when we posted it on the website?
No, but that's pretty slick. That's a nice looking. That is really interesting how they have that. I like that DC. Is that like a plastic holder on it?
No,
I'm sure
gold.
everyone's really fascinated with me. It's gold. Okay.
So it's 24 karat gold, struck to a pristine proof-like finish. It's an official DC licensed product. So what you have is a stunning miniature replica of the Action Comics #1 comic book cover as a stunning gold-plated ingot.
Okay, so sorry, I for some reason I misunderstood what it was. I thought it was like a replica of the comic itself, but it's just the cover on gold.
Yeah. So it's only available in the UK from what I understand. It's only £20 plus postage and handling. But yeah, I don't know exactly the size of it, but I imagine it's pretty small. Well, people who like gold-plated things.
Well, all right, Scrooge McDuck. I mean, I don't know. I'm not making fun of it because there's something for everybody. But wow, that's a really weird collectible.
Well, people in the comments are liking it, so Tina's saying she'd sell her right arm to get it. But then Mind the Gap says he can't see how anyone would want that. So
yeah, well, that I don't judge, but my God, that's a weird.
Okay, so it's 38 millimeters by 50 millimeters, so it's quite small.
So not only is it 24 karat gold, it's something you can lose really easily.
Doesn't even have like a chain thing, like a loop that you could hang it on around. I don't know. Anyway, so that's available through our website. It's an officially licensed item from the Westminster Collection. But another one from Department 56. This one is a Superman Daily Planet statue. Now, I'm bringing this image up for you right now. It is a... well, Department 56, they're a well-known company for they do the Christmas Village statues, little detailed representations of different things. Now they're turning their attention towards the pop culture world, and this is the first one from Superman's perspective. It's a Daily Planet statue. It's a 17.25 inches high, 6.5 inches in length, and 6.5 inches in width. And it's an intricate handcrafted, hand-painted porcelain statue. The Daily Planet building lights up with internal LEDs when plugged into the wall outlet. But the price is a bit steep. It's $259.99.
Well, with that being that intricate and it lighting up, I'm not surprised. I love the fact that you got the little Superman fly, attached to the Daily Planet globe,
circling around it.
We've got here in the house. They haven't put it up in years, but Rachel's family has like a very intricate Christmas village.
Yes.
So I would almost want, if it was cheaper, I would almost want to get that to kind of put it into the village. Maybe put some snow on it. But no, that's cute. I like how they're trying to kind of have the best of all the different worlds, because that sort of can look like, from, just not at the top, obviously, but that kind of looks like the L.A. County Courthouse building, which served as the Daily Planet in the George Reeves series. So I like that.
Indeed. Well, we have time for a This Week in History, if you're prepared for that.
I actually have it up. So
okay, fantastic.
I don't want to say surprisingly.
No.
But
I'll play your intro for you.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bubble of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
Alrighty, going back to, actually in this case, 1950, because there was nothing in 1940. You had Superman number 64, which has a cover of Superman telling kids not to interrupt Professor Lois Lane, which was one of the stories in the comic. In 1960, we got an important one here. They've got a World of Bizarro story in Action Comics number 263, which is cool. But you also have Adventure Comics number 271, which came out on March 1st, 1960. And this was the infamous Origin of Luthor, where it was revealed that how he came to Smallville and went bald and became the evil Luthor that we know today. Everyone says it was because he went bald. It was actually because the entire town of Smallville turned on him. Also, on the same day came out Brave and the Bold number 29, which was the second appearance of the Justice League of America, which shockingly Superman didn't have that much to do with. In 1970, you have Superboy number 165, which was an 80-page giant that reprinted some classic Superboy stories like The Phantom Superboy, The Death of Mom and Pa Kent, and Superboy's Last Day.
Wow.
Nothing in 1980. In 1990, we have the last part of the Day of the Krypton Man story in Action Comics number 652, which was also George Perez's last issue of that series. That was a really cool storyline. Superman threw the Eradicator in the sun, and nothing bad happened from that. In the year 2000, just JLA number 40, which was the World War III Part 5, came out. That was wrapping up Grant Morrison's run. And you also had Superman number 156, which was that cool Ed McGuinness cover of Superman fighting the Parasite. And I think around this time you find out that the Parasite had been impersonating Lois Lane, and there's some icky implications from that we don't want to think about. You also had Supermen of America. You remember those, Steve?
Yes, I do.
The Supermen of America? Yeah, they had a mini-series that was published around this time period, and the third issue came out. And in the year 2010, you had Adventure Comics number 8, which was part of the Last Stand of New Krypton storyline, as that whole storyline was wrapping up. And that is it for this week in history.
Wow. So there you go. Yeah, the Superman of America. I remember that well.
Yeah, it was an interesting idea that I guess it was just at a time where DC was just completely and utterly swamped with teen books. So I think it just kind of got lost in the shuffle that way.
Yeah. If you read my recent Big Blue Report newsletter, you would have seen that I actually got around to reading the pilot episode script for Superman and Lois, which I know you've read, and
yes, I have.
I have to say, I was, without any spoilers here, I was quite impressed with the way it was written and the way everything paralleled, whether it be Clark in his boyhood to his sons in their boyhood, whether it be Smallville then versus Smallville now. I think there was a lot of great things in there.
No, the script as written was everything I wanted it to be. Like, you think there was all these, everyone, of course, because we had no data at the time, they're like, well, what about this character? What about that character? And you really don't have to worry about them. But the characters that they are adding are really interesting.
Yes.
And I like the situation that they're put in. I like how they're put into that situation. And it really sets up a dynamic that reminded me of the Peter Tomasi, Patrick Gleason rebirth issues. Just with two sons instead of one.
Yeah.
I am, like, after I got done reading it, I was just like, oh man, this is going to be so good. And there's some deep cut references in there too. I stopped every once in a while and went, wow, that one was, whoo! I it's like it's like one of those stupid clickbait articles. It's like only a real Superman fan, and I'm not being like that. It's just I was impressed that they went where they went in certain references.
Yeah, no, I was really impressed with it. I thought that they might make the sons, one either really likable and one not so likable, or one really cheesy because he's so good and the other one really dark and twisted. But they're actually both really likable kids with just different types of personalities, yet they both have redeeming qualities.
Yeah, I also liked, and this isn't really a spoiler, they don't dislike each other.
No.
They're close.
Yeah.
And that's a dynamic that people can often fall back on, like the siblings that don't get along. But putting them in the situation that they're putting, it's like they really tried to design a Superman series that was going to appeal to a wide variety of Superman fans.
And I was also impressed with just how much screen time Superman himself gets in the script, because I was thinking that it's just going to be Clark and Lois and their sons and the Smallville side of things, but he uses the full gamut of his powers in the way it's described.
Yeah, the super feats he performs and the villain that they introduce, and there's a really in the final battle there's a really nice cut reference to Superman the movie that I appreciated. But I like the fact that it was so Superman heavy because it kind of plays into one of the problems presented in the family, for lack of a better way of putting that.
Yeah. So looking forward to it. Hopefully it translates as well from the page as it does on to the screen as it does on the page. But looking forward to it, and I have little to no reservations having read that script. So looking forward to seeing how that translates. But that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's show. Before we do sign off, I'd like to thank everyone for watching tonight's episode of WGBS Live. I want to thank everyone on YouTube who participated in the show with your comments and just being a live watcher. We really appreciate you guys and your involvement in the show each week. And thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt and Tina Murray. We appreciate your support. And thank you to you, my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Thank you, Mike.
Oh, pleasure as always, Steve.
Now, thank you to everyone again. A huge thank you to our sponsors, as I mentioned, Now, the complete 1 hour video of tonight's show will remain available on the Superman homepage, website, and our YouTube channel. If you'd like to watch it back, or perhaps you missed part of the show, tuned in late, you'll be able to watch it in full at our website. But Michael and I will be back next week on Tuesday, March 10th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time for another edition of WGBS TV Live. Look forward to talking with you then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice. On behalf of myself and Michael Bailey, thanks for watching WGBS TV Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.